Hello friends, today we are going to start chapter 3 of class 12 chemistry, that is electrochemistry. Electrochemistry is basically the study of two types of chemical reactions, that is the first one is chemical reactions giving rise to electricity, and the second one is electricity giving rise to chemical reactions. Electricity is basically derived from two words, that is electro and chemistry. Electro here refers to electricity and chemistry basically refers to chemical reaction. In this chapter, what we are going to study is chemical reactions arising out of electricity or electricity which is produced because of some chemical reaction. Electrochemistry has both theoretical and practical importance. Theoretical importance is we will study along the chapter as we read on, and let us discuss some of the practical importances of electrochemistry. Electrochemistry basically is used in the manufacture of many types of elements and compounds, mostly those elements which are very electropositive or which are very electronegative, such as sodium hydroxide, extraction of sodium metal, chlorine gas, fluorine gas, and many other metals. Let us start with the manufacture of sodium hydroxide first. Sodium hydroxide is produced by chlor-alkali process, in which electrolysis of brine solution or simply sodium chloride dissolved into water is electrolyzed in membrane cell. So how does a membrane cell look like? This is the typical diagram of a membrane cell. In this membrane cell, if you observe, 26% brine solution or sodium chloride solution is fed as an input into the chamber. It is divided into two chambers. This is the first chamber and this is the second chamber, and it is separated by a semi-permeable membrane which allows only the passing of sodium ions across the membrane. Sodium chloride is basically an ionic compound which upon dissolving with water, means when you put it into the water, it dissociates into Na plus aqueous ions and Cl minus aqueous ions. As chloride ions are negatively charged ions, they get attracted to the positively charged electrode. So chloride ions will get attracted to this positively charged electrode. Two chloride ions will lose out two electrons to give one chlorine molecule at this anode, and it will rise up as chlorine gas. Now in this solution, only sodium ions is left when chlorine is liberated. That sodium ion passes across this membrane. If we come to the another chamber, so here we have negatively charged electrode and water is being fed as an input into this chamber. In this chamber, water dissociates into H plus and OH minus ions. Two H plus ions, they will gain two electrons to form one molecule of hydrogen gas, and they will rise up in the chamber, whereas sodium hydroxide ion, that will stay into this solution. As from the previous chamber, sodium ions have transmigrated, so it will react with the sodium hydroxide to give sodium hydroxide. Na plus reacts with OH minus to give NaOH, and these all will be aqueous solutions. Let me repeat what is happening in this chamber. So basically we have two electrodes, the positively charged electrode and the negatively charged electrode. At the positively charged electrode, negatively charged ions will be attracted, and at the negatively charged electrode, positively charged ions will get attracted. In this chamber, we are feeding sodium chloride, 26% sodium chloride as an input, which will dissociate into Na plus and Cl minus ions. Since Cl minus is negatively charged, it will get attracted to the positively charged electrode, and it will lose out 2 electrons to give one molecule of chlorine. That chlorine gas will rise above the chamber and will be taken out from this pipe. In the another chamber, what is happening is water molecule is dissociating into H plus and OH minus ions. Again, two molecules of H plus will react with two electrons. So these electrons will be provided by this negatively charged electrode. It will react with two electrons to form one molecule of hydrogen. Uh, one molecule of hydrogen. In this chamber, it is to be noted that the sodium ions that is produced in the first chamber, only that can pass this semi-permeable membrane. It can either go from left to right or it can come from right to left. Okay, but there will be no other ions that can pass this membrane. So just for example, this Cl2 molecule, which is shown by a U-turn kind of arrow, which shows that chlorine molecule, it cannot pass the membrane. Similarly, hydroxide ions, it is also shown by U-turn arrow. So hydroxide ion also cannot pass the membrane. Only sodium Na plus can pass across this membrane. Na plus that is produced in the first chamber reacts with the OH minus that is produced in the second chamber, and finally it gives Na plus plus OH minus to give NaOH solution. It is important to note that not all sodium chloride that is fed into the system is converted into sodium hydroxide. So we are feeding 26% NaCl solution, and as a reject or waste we are getting 24% sodium chloride. That means only 2% of the sodium ions that is going in is converted into sodium hydroxide ion. As a byproduct, we are getting hydrogen gas as well in the production of sodium hydroxide. Not just hydrogen gas but chlorine gas also. This is the typical diagram of Dow's cell. This one is slightly different as you have seen in the previous case. This is also an electrolysis chamber, but the apparatus, in this apparatus there is a central positive electrode which is surrounded by a negatively charged electrode, and this entire uh, system is uh, bracketed into another chamber. As you know, in the electrolysis of sodium chloride, NaCl will decompose to Na plus and Cl minus. So NaCl is being fed from here. So NaCl is being fed from here and it goes into this chamber, and after going over here it decomposes into Na plus and Cl minus ion. Since Na plus is positively charged, it will be collected over the negatively charged electrode. So basically it is collected here, and since Cl minus is negatively charged, it will get attracted to the positively charged electrode here. At cathode, sodium plus will gain one electron to become sodium metal, and at anode 2 chlorine minus will lose 2 electrons to become 1 chlorine molecule. In this way, the net reaction is 2 NaCl molecule will decompose to form 2 Na plus 1 Cl2 molecule gas. Since sodium metal is highly reactive metal, if it comes into contact with air, it will form sodium oxide. If it contacts with water, it will form hydroxide. If it comes into contact with nitrogen, it will form sodium nitrite. That's why this chamber is specifically designed such that sodium metal doesn't come into contact with any of the elemental components of air or water. So the sodium metal that is generated, it is collected over here only, and since it is dipped inside the brine solution, it does not react with any of the components of air, and from here it is collected as a sodium metal, and then it can be preserved into some mineral oil or some noble gas atmosphere. And the chlorine gas that is collected over here, that is passed through this pipe and collected into another chamber. Some points to be kept in mind is that melting point of sodium chloride is over 800 degrees centigrade, and that means that in order to melt solid sodium chloride into liquid form, you will require tremendous amount of energy. In order to reduce some amount of energy requirement, some solute particles are dissolved, as you have read in the previous chapter, colligative properties, that when you add any amount of solute to solution, the melting point is decreased. So in this case, the melting point of sodium chloride reduces from 800 degrees centigrade to something around 700 degrees centigrade. So this saves lots of energy, and the solute that is used in this case is calcium chloride. Calcium chloride is mixed to lower the melting point to below 700 degrees centigrade. As you also know that calcium is less electropositive than sodium, no calcium will be deposited at this anode. We have seen the production of sodium hydroxide and sodium metal. Now let us see how fluorine gas is produced by the electrolytic methods. Fluorine gas is produced by the Moissan's method, and again it uses a specially designed chamber for electrolysis. As you can see in the diagram, this central electrode is the positively charged carbon anode, and this entire body of this chamber, it is made up of steel electrode or steel cathode. The electrolyte used here is HF or hydrofluoric acid. But since HF does not conduct electricity, some KF is also mixed to increase the conductivity of the electrolyte. KF-HF mixture is generally mixed in the ratio of 1:2.5 to 1:5. In this reaction, HF is electrolyzed to form H2 gas. So basically it dissociates into H plus and F minus, and this again HF at cathode it will gain one electron. So basically two HF ions will get two electrons to form one molecule of hydrogen, and at anode two fluorine molecules or ions will lose two electrons to form one molecule of fluorine. As potassium is more stronger oxidizing agent than hydrogen, so potassium never comes out of this solution. It is never separated as potassium metal. Only hydrogen gas is produced, whereas K plus always remains in the solution. Kf actually doesn't take part in the reaction. It remains in the solution always, and it just helps us to increase the conductivity of the electrolyte.